turn on my microphone, and I'm going to call to order this regular meeting of the Carabelle City Commission. It's Thursday, October 6th, 2022, 6 p.m. The meeting is being conducted in the Carabelle City Hall chambers, and we will open with a prayer by Commissioner Allen, and then I will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Our God and Father, we're so grateful that we have this opportunity to come together and deal with things that would make our city and all the citizens and function better, and that we might all be servants of you. We ask you to be with us in our judgment, that we might be judging righteously, and that we'll do that which is best for our lovely city. We ask this in the name of your Son and our Savior, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I think we had a little disruption there, and I'm going to just go ahead and remind you to silence your phones, please. Is your phone silenced? All the commissioners, everybody's phone is silenced? Let me check mine here. No, it's not. Okay. All right. Okay then. Good evening and welcome. And silence your phones, please. And if y'all, I mentioned this earlier, but if you want to speak under the public comment section of portion of the agenda, that's for anything that's not on the agenda. It's coming up next shortly. But you need to complete a speaker card. It's at the table there at the door where you came in, and turn that in to Ms. Keisha. And then if you want to speak on any of the items that are on the agenda during the discussion portion, you'll also need to submit a speaker card and write on that speaker card what you want to speak on. Okay, and loud outbursts are not allowed, so we'll just move forward. And to the consent agenda, where we're going to consider approval or disapproval of the September 1st, 2022 regular commission meeting, September 14th, first budget hearing, September 20th, 2022, special meeting for the American Rescue Plan allocation, September 27th, 2022, final budget hearing, and the attorney's invoices for August. So, do we have a motion regarding approval or disapproval of these minutes?
I move to approve all of these.
All right, thank you. And everyone's had an opportunity to review. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, that motion is by Commissioner Allen, second by Commissioner Brown. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, so next we're at public comment. And so do we have, I know we've got 2 people that want to speak. Miss Glaze, I see your hand first. Did she complete a speaker card?
Yes, I put it up there.
Okay.
It's blank. It didn't say a topic, so I didn't.
Okay, well just come forward. And certainly if anyone thinks that they want to speak under any item on the agenda, they'll need to complete a speaker card for that as well. And it's a 3-minute limit.
Hi, Sharon Glaze. I live on 122 Bragdon Street. I'm just giving a little update about Jordan Bayou. Still a mess. It does look like somebody went out there and weeded it a little bit, but there are deep, deep ruts in a few of the yards, and another person was injured falling in a hole. Her name is Tara. I do know she was injured. I don't know the outcome, and I haven't been able to reach her. So there's that. And the lawn equipment was never unpacked. It's in the back of the office, and so it's not available for them to use or anything. Also, I want to point out that Chris Watts told me, she said that she was checking into it because it's supposed to be income-based housing, which in a general sense means that they adjust the rent according to your income. Well, it turns out that she doesn't believe that's the case. All of the rents are supposedly the same, and it's actually an income-restricted subdivision to where you can't make over a certain amount, but all the people making different amounts in their income, they all pay the same amount. So it's just clearing that up too.
Okay.
But it is still a big mess.
Now, I did understand that there would be, Mr. Hartman, if you would just listen in a second, like 3 houses in that subdivision that would be unrestricted, that they would have housing there for folks that they weren't going to consider their income limit.
Is that at Jordan Bayou?
Yes,
Or
sir. And then at the other one, I think
Yes.
there's going to be 9 properties.
I thought it was
6
8.
and 9, 6 and 9.
I see, I thought it was 8
Well,
at Jordan
I'm
Bayou.
just-
We will have a representative, I think, at the end. We can ask him.
Supposedly 4 people moved out last week. I mean, it's just bad. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your input there. All right, do we have anyone else under public comment? Okay, I see Miss Lisa Keith Lucas. And if you'll just state your name in the microphone for the recording.
Lisa Keith Lucas. I'm president of the board of directors at the Camp Gordon Johnston World War II Museum. And this is a very belated statement, but I would like to read the letter that goes with this. Dear City of Carabelle, the board of directors of the Camp Gordon Johnston World War II Museum would like to express our heartfelt thanks for the ongoing support of the City of Carabelle has provided to the museum in our mission of preserving the history of Camp Gordon Johnston and the experience of the American soldier at war. This support goes beyond what you give us with your annual grant for the Camp Gordon Johnston Day Parade and the other work that it takes to close the highway and get the city ready for the parade. When we moved into our new building in 2018, we would only been able to display a fraction of the museum artifacts if you had not allowed us to take the cabinets that we had been using in the old museum along with us. They are still a mainstay of our display planning. The museum has also received permission to use items from the old building that we could repurpose. Some of the old walkway awning now covers the walk between the main museum and the vehicle building. Dented file cabinets work very well for storing recently donated artifacts that are waiting to be added to the inventory. Old bookcases have been turned into attractive display cases, and parking blocks now finish our paved parking lot and prevent damage to the edges. We'd like to specifically recognize City Administrator Courtney Dempsey, Mayor Brenda LaPaz, the commissioners at that time, which were Cal Allen, Sabrina Brown, Tony Millender, and of course Franklin Mathis. We'd like to extend an invitation to you at your convenience to have a private tour of the museum and see some of the improvements that we've made with these items. And thank you again, belatedly, for your support for the Camp Gordon Johnston World War II Museum.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, do we have any other public comment? Any other public comment? All right, we're going to move forward then to the commissioners' reports. And we have Commissioner Brown.
I just have a couple of things. The second annual Chamber of Commerce Halloween Hoot and Howl at Sands Park will be Saturday, October 29th from 4 to 6 p.m. and they are accepting donations if anyone would like to help out.
Saturday, what the day?
October 29th from 4 to 6. And then they're getting ramped up for Holiday on the Harbor, so if there's anyone interested in sponsoring or being a vendor, that's going to be on Saturday, December 10th from 1 to 8 p.m. And the Chamber's phone number to contact them is 850-697-2585. So we have some fun stuff coming up. That was it.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Allen?
I don't have a big report, but I could appreciate the work that's been done to keep our cities clean, our streets clean, and all the trash is picked up, and those that are doing that are doing a great job, and I hope they can continue to do that. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Allen. Commissioner Walden?
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay, Commissioner Millender?
I have none.
Okay, and then it's time for me. I just want to go and say that I send my prayers and condolences to the people in South Florida who are picking themselves up out of the horrific disaster that was headed for our way, originally predicted. And to all of those that were in the path of Hurricane Ian that are now dealing with the unprecedented flooding. This is a major disaster with ongoing major disaster response efforts and a significant undertaking for the state of Florida. And I'm thankful for all the first responders who are there and the volunteers who have already struck out there to help out as best they can, and who continue their efforts to provide relief to all those that are affected. And we here in Franklin County and in Carabelle are with all of those that are affected from this horrific hurricane. We're with all of those folks in spirit and with the volunteers. And then I want to just give on a different note a bit of background for the public. The commission members and P&Z members are not provided with city email addresses, and the commission members are not provided with laptop computers by the city. Now, if laptops were provided, those laptops should be synced with an automatic archiving system for records retention, like maybe a cloud service. So up to this point, the commission members have always provided their own technical resources and managed their own records retention at home on their own as best they can. The commission members are not formally instructed on how to do this or on the legal requirements. Meanwhile, at my request, and after several requests over the years, this commission has agreed to set aside some of the American Rescue Act funding to get us set up with laptops and automatic archiving. So I realize now that staff members and a few of us on this board are somewhat computer savvy, but I believe that we need professional consultation and advice on how to move forward. So therefore I'm requesting that staff reach out to the Eagle Tree Technologies and to the 2K Web Group. Both of those technology companies are based here in Franklin County, and extend them an invitation to speak and to present at the December 1st commission meeting regarding a proposal to recommend the best type of laptop computers for the city commission members and how these would be synced with an automatic archiving system for records retention for all city-related correspondence. And this proposal should include the automatic archiving for administrative staff correspondence as well. So if you all don't mind, if they can reach out to these two companies and extend them an invitation to present to us at the December 1st commission meeting.
Would we be buying laptops from them? Or what would
I
they
don't
be
know.
proposing?
They handle this type of work for Franklin County, the Franklin County Library System, the school board, I believe the city of Apalachicola. So some of these, and actually 2K Group does do some administrative work on our website here. So you know, we need to be able to understand what is offered out there, what they provide to other agencies around the county, and if this is something that we're really interested in or that we need or that we can afford with the amount of money that we have allocated from the American Rescue Plan. Is that okay?
I think it's a good idea to get the professional advice before we move forward
Okay.
on the purchase.
All right.
And then we'll be more informed on which direction we need to go.
All right. Thank you very much. And then I just want to also let you know that the Carabelle Food Pantry has been honored with the Susan Dunlap Scholarship Award in the amount of $1,000. They were presented the funds at the 2022 United Way of the Big Bend Conference on this past Wednesday, or excuse me, on September the 14th. Bernice Cox, and we see her on TV sometimes in Tallahassee, she's the president of and the CEO of the United Way of the Big Bend. And she was impressed with the food pantry's all-volunteer status and the amount of support received from the city of Carabelle. And Jeannie Miller, who has presented to us before during our budget workshops, she's a food pantry volunteer, and she provided this report to me, and she added that the Carabelle Food Pantry would not be able to continue without the city's support and the support of all the commissioners. And the volunteers of the Carabelle Food Pantry Food Bank send a sincere thank you to all of you and to our approval of the funding that we do every year for them. All right, that's all I have, and we'll go to the city attorney's report.
I only have one item that Courtney and I discussed briefly before the meeting. The county, my understanding is, and she may have more information on it, is talking about instituting, or just did institute a burn ban because of the dry conditions. And that historically, we talked about, I believe we follow suit on that. And so I'll be on standby to, I think we can do it by resolution. The county's doing it by ordinance.
They're doing it by resolution, but the last time they did it by ordinance.
Okay.
And the last time they included us in their ordinance. But I got a call from Michael Morone at 4 o'clock, and he said that tomorrow they're having an emergency special meeting and to discuss a burn ban for Franklin County. And he was just letting us know in case we wanted to follow suit. And so we had a commission meeting, and I said I'll bring it up at the meeting tonight and see what the commission prefers.
And maybe that's the thing, and you all can authorize me to do this, is that's why I didn't find it. I went looking for it thinking we must have mirrored them last time. But now that reminds me, Michael Schuler called me, said, hey, do you want us to include Carabelle in it? If you all authorize me to, I'll call Michael Schuler ASAP and tell him, do it again, include us again.
Okay. And do we want to be included?
I think that we should be consistent throughout the county. And I would suggest that we be consistent with the county if they enact it. I know forestry right now has discontinued issuing burning permits, but that does not exclude cooking fires and yard trash. And when you issue a burn ban, that excludes cooking fires.
All of it.
So their discussion tomorrow, and I know that it's dry, but it's not, we're not in a severe drought. So their discussion tomorrow, I don't know where they're going to go. But I would like to say that while we're here, go ahead and agree that we be consistent throughout the county, and whatever they go with, we'll follow suit.
It would make it simpler to enforce
Exactly.
throughout the county.
Yes.
Generally, they still allow grills. You can still cook in a grill, but not like a warming fire, cooking fire on the ground.
Well, when a burn ban is issued, even a grill is included.
All right, so do you need a motion for that? Do we?
And I understand what Commissioner Miller is saying, is maybe a motion to be included in the resolution. Obviously, if it passes, will be included. If it doesn't pass, then obviously we won't have a burn ban.
Is that what you're?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Okay, so we have that motion by Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Walden to be included in the county's resolution regarding their burn ban.
Very good. And
Okay, wait now.
Okay.
We need to have a vote on that.
Well, we need to have.
And that's it, that's the motion. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and that motion carries. Okay, all right. And that's the city attorney's report. Do we have anything else, Mr. Hartman?
We do not. I do
Okay.
not.
All right, then we'll move on to the city administrator, Ms. Courtney.
Did you guys all receive your department reports?
Yes.
All right, any questions? All right, I wanted to report to you guys that the old police vehicle, the Ford Taurus that's sitting out in the parking lot, has been transferred over to the administrative department from the police department. And it will be used for administrative business uses such as code enforcement. As Keisha goes out and does stop work orders and stuff on building permits and checking boat ramp fees. So right now we're using our personal vehicles to do that. And now we'll have a city vehicle that's marked as a city vehicle so people know who we are when we pull up. Later last week, we got a call from the Franklin County Sheriff's Department asking the city to donate for the Hurricane Ian relief efforts. It was on the 30th, it was the last day of the budget year, and we looked back at the budget, and there was some money in the nonprofits that did not get claimed during the year, so the city donated $3,000 to the Sheriff's Department for Hurricane Ian relief. The money needed to be spent, and it was the last day of the year to spend it. So we went ahead and did that. We need to schedule another workshop or a special meeting in October regarding the downtown business parking. We had a workshop this month. We said we would have another meeting. How would you guys like to proceed with that? Do y'all want to have a workshop or a special meeting, and do you have any dates in mind?
I would like us to schedule a special meeting so we can get some decisions made and decide on what kind of verbiage we want for the signs.
It doesn't matter to me whether it's a workshop or a special meeting, so I'll leave that up to the pleasure of the board. Just want to make sure, I can be available for a meeting.
I'm free the 19th and after.
On Wednesday, the 19th?
I'm not free the 19th.
I'm free anytime after that.
After the 19th,
After
so
the
the 17th isn't available.
I won't be here on the 17th.
What about then the 20th? You have a planning and zoning meeting. Mr. Hartman might be here that day. What about after the planning and zoning meeting? Or will we want to do it later?
Probably later in the day so the businesses can come.
That would be a good day for me if, to do it later in the day if it's good for Mr. Hartman.
That's fine.
Okay, so the 20th then? Is that all right, the 20th? That's a Thursday. And do we want to, what time do we want to do that? A special meeting now?
What date?
20th, the 20th, October the 20th.
Well,
At 5
prob-
o'clock?
we're probably gonna have members of the public participate. And later in the day, 5 o'clock, would probably be more conducive to the public.
Yeah.
How about 6 o'clock, same as our meeting here?
It's up to the board.
6 is just late.
Well, it's not necessarily late, but it runs late.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
have to work late.
Well, let's just compromise,
Mhm.
5:30.
Yeah, I think that's what we did before, was 5:30, and we had a good show out of that, a turnout. 5:30. Okay.
Okay, I will make a motion that we have a special meeting on Thursday, October 20th at 5:30 for the parking issue.
Okay, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and that motion is by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Allen for a special meeting regarding the downtown parking issue on October the 20th at 5:30. Is there any further discussion? We'll say, I want to say real quick that I'm not going to bring up the one-way street at that time. We can maybe get a feel from them, and if they want to discuss it further, we'll have a special meeting regarding the one-way street. Is that all right, folks?
That's good. I just
Okay.
wanted to also suggest that, Courtney, I don't want to put it all on you, but if we could have some examples of wording on signage,
Okay.
and also Commissioner Brown, some examples and ideas on wording on signage and so forth, things for us to look at and discuss.
I've already been working on some.
Anyway, Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, and I've got input from other areas of the county regarding this, but it's really not on the agenda, so I can't provide that input now, but regarding signs and what the signs should say.
And that's what I did. I didn't get into it, just wanted to, if we have some ideas, and all the commissioners bring some ideas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and that motion carries to have this special meeting on October the 20th at 5:30.
Who seconded it?
Brown and Allen. All right, Ms. Courtney?
And then also today I received an email from Michael Marone who sent this email to the city of Carabelle and the city of Appalachia, and they are seeking appointees from each city to serve on 2 county committees. The first would be a review committee that will hear presentations from individuals or firms that have submitted packets to provide specific services for the TDC. After the presentations, the committee will then complete the score sheets that will be forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners for selection. This committee will meet twice over the next 45 days. And since both of the mayors serve on the TDC, they're not eligible. So this would be for one of the board members.
Do you know the dates?
I do not know the dates.
No. And I would go ahead and throw out there that I would recommend Commissioner Melander, because he's familiar with the county processes, and he's retired. He doesn't have a job or any kind of a business that he's operating. I mean, I think you know, he would be able to. He knows those people, and when you're on the county level, you've got to be able to, you know, be a little aggressive there and speak out. And this is going to. Be it's for the vendors choosing. It's for choosing the vendors. Would be like who's going to manage and design the TDC's website, and who manages and orders all of the TDC's written media from certain magazines, where we advertise, who does the radio advertisement, who does the filming for the different videos that the TDC publishes out on their website, and that type thing. So it's something important, and I would recommend Commissioner Melander to do that. It's going to be daytime meetings, 2 meetings within the next 45 days.
You want to accept?
Well, hunting season's coming on.
Is that we know?
I will, I'm just making.
But we need to vote on it, and I'm just making that, in fact, I'll make that motion for
I'll
Commissioner.
second that.
Okay. Okay. And we have that second by Commissioner Walden. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and that motion carries. Okay.
All right, the second one is a local technology planning team. This is the committee that will work with the Department of Economic Opportunity to seek grant funding for broadcast accessibility in the county. This committee will meet on a regular basis for the next year. The appointee does not have to be a city commissioner. Any city resident that fits the categories listed on the DEO's website is eligible to serve. So the DEO's website, it says that the representatives from the following organizations or industries: libraries, K-12 education, colleagues and universities, colleges and universities, local health care providers, private business, community organizations, economic development organizations, local governments, tourism, parks and recs, and agriculture. And it would say the directives would be to work with rural communities to help the communities understand their current broadcast availability, locate unserved and underserved businesses and residents, identify assets relevant to broadband deployment, build partnerships and broadband service providers, identify opportunities to leverage assets and reduce barriers to the deployment of broadband internet services in the community, and teams must be proactive in fiscally constrained counties in identifying funding opportunities. So this one does not have to be a board member, and I'm recommending that we put this out to maybe on our Facebook page and Oyster Radio, and the Times advertising for someone that's interested in this. They can submit their letters of interest to the city.
Okay, because we would want someone that fit or had interest in that could really represent the city. I think that they probably got a timeline for this one as well.
He just asked that we get both of these appointees submitted as soon as possible, that they're ready to start meeting. I would suggest that we would only maybe put it out for a week, and then that way we'll choose from what we what letters of interest we get.
And what do you all think about letting staff choose from the letters that they get? Because we won't have another meeting, as far as I know right now. We're not having another meeting where we could vote on it until September the 20th, excuse me, October 20th, and they may want to.
Move forward.
Yes. So is that all right for staff to go ahead?
That's fine with us.
Okay, well, let's just have a motion then for staff to advertise for this local technology planning team member, and then appoint that member as they see fit with the applications they receive.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
With comment.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Millender and a second by Commissioner Walden. Okay, discussion?
Yes, just in case, as a backup, since this is gonna be time sensitive, just in case we have to appoint a board member. You wanna think about that a little bit while we're here?
I would volunteer myself. I would love to be on this board. This is something that's been of high interest
Courtney,
of
don't-
mine that I've been keeping up with.
And it can be a board member, we don't have to put it out, it can be. That's, that's your will.
I just think that would be a safeguard for you, for staff.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's time sensitive, we would have somebody that would be a backup if you didn't get any response.
That's true. The committee, it says, will meet on a regular basis, and they meet in the daytime, so will you be able to close your?
Work it out.
Okay,
That's
you'll work it
extremely
out.
important.
It is very important. That's why we were just not going to just like pick someone from off the cuff tonight. We need someone that understands something out of one of these lists and to represent this area of the county, actually. I don't know who else they're reaching out to.
I'm not sure, he didn't.
Mhm.
City of Carabelle and City of Appalachia.
Okay, well,
We finish this motion, I'll make another one.
okay, so, all right, we have the motion then for staff to advertise for a week and then appoint someone out of those applicants if they see someone that meets the qualifications. And do we have any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion now to appoint Commissioner Brown as a substitute in the event that the advertisement doesn't pan out.
I'll second.
Okay, and that motion is by Commissioner Millender to appoint Commissioner Brown as a substitute if that advertisement does not bring forth any qualified applicant.
Go ahead.
Okay, and that's second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries.
That was Alan.
Commissioner Millender, Commissioner Allen. All right, Ms. Courtney, is there anything else? Try to make sense of my notes here. The county commission tends to send us information on the spur of the moment, like 2 hours before our meetings.
Everyone did today.
And then and they need it like yesterday. So then, next to them, we'll move on to the city clerk. Do you have a report for us, Ms. Keisha?
Get that motion in there. Just gonna announce some meetings. We have our regularly scheduled CRA meeting October 18th at 1:30. We have planning and zoning meeting October 20th at 2 o'clock. We will have at least one item I know of already. And then, of course, our special meeting now, October 20th at 5:30. The next commission meeting will be November 3rd at 6 o'clock. That's the first Thursday. And then Next month, we will need to schedule a special meeting to have our final amended budget for this past year. We'll have to find, once Miranda gets all the bills in and gets it finalized, we'll need to amend and finalize that budget.
In November?
In November.
Okay, and we'll set a meeting date for that at the November meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
We should have all the numbers by then.
Okay, and you'll know better when we can have everything put together. All right. That sounds good. Do you have anything else?
No, that's
All right. Anything, commissioners, for Ms. Keisha? All right, then we'll move forward to Mr. Russell Large with Inovia and his report.
Thank you. On our 9th Street project, we'll be finalizing the DOT reimbursable amount by the 31st of October. That's for the 9th Street segment. The other roadway projects are complete. We did review those today. They also did submit their pay requests, Courtney, so we're reviewing those as well. We did note that the striping on Tallahassee Street needs to be completed.
Also, the library, they did the line down the center line, but are they going to stripe the parking spot?
Yes, and yes, thank you. That also needs to be done in conjunction with Tallahassee Street. Okay. Secondly, the Baywood Drive improvements, that grant application cycle for the small communities grant that opens on December 1st. So I just bring that up to the board for your consideration. If that's a project that you'd like to pursue in the next cycle, or if there's a different project, we can start looking at that ahead of that grant cycle. That's just a heads up item for the board to consider. On the Lighthouse project, the majority of the pipe for the water is nearing completion, as well as the sewer force main. So that means that the testing for that will begin, and once that testing is complete, then the contractor will go back and start making individual connections at that point. So we think that's going to occur towards the end of October and into November. On our the summer camp, the committee met on 22 September, and we're developing an outline and language for a potential development agreement there. Lastly, the Careville Cemetery, I think there was some marginal degree of urgency expressed about that project. I just bring that up to find out if there's any direction from the board on that property.
I think we're waiting on the survey still, and then after that, we will go for a geotechnical survey as well on that, in some areas that are low. Or we could I don't know what, I thought we had discussed about a geotechnical. We requested a geotechnical survey of that land.
Yes, no, the geotech on that property, we're talking about the old football field.
No,
okay.
the hillside.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Adjacent to the existing cemetery?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, and that's all I had on my report for tonight.
I'll just comment too, Russell, that you said that they'll finish the water line out at the Lighthouse and then start individual connections. We still have people coming in daily wanting to hook up to that, and once they start the individual connections, we'll stop taking those. So there is a date, and not a date certain, but once they finish that line, they will not be able to sign up anymore.
Okay, all right. Do we all understand what she's saying? Okay. And did you have a comment, Commissioner Melander?
Okay.
Okay.
It left, I guess.
Oh, sorry.
It had to do with the cemetery and moving forward on that property, but we're still waiting on a survey.
Yeah.
Keisha, do you have any idea on that?
I reached out to them, and they had regrettably dropped the ball, so they assured me that they would be on it. So.
Okay.
I think it's kind of urgent that we move forward.
As soon as that's
As soon as
done,
we
can they go ahead and move forward with the geotechnical? As soon as, if the survey is done mid-month?
Is it necessary on that high ground? There is some low ground, it goes down to the low ground, so I'm sure it's probably gonna be.
Yeah, it would be safe and it would be worth it. I think the cost would be marginal for that work. And we can go ahead and provide a price quote for that work.
And to answer the mayor's question, yeah, I'm in agreement that we, as soon as we get the survey, that Russell can move. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, now the Baywood Drive, the FDOT SCOP application. When is that going to open? When will that window open?
December the 1st.
Oh, December the 1st.
Right.
Okay, so you just gave us a heads up on it to think about it, and then you'll have like 30 days to submit?
That's right.
Okay.
Or longer.
And then we'll need to have that item on the agenda, well, let's see, in November, whether or not we, under your report, we'll vote, all right, on whether or not we want to move forward on this. This would be the third, okay.
That was my question, it flew away.
This would be the third application. We've submitted 2, but I don't know, did we submit 3 over here to get the Southeast Avenue A project?
You know, there were multiple applications, yeah.
And this is now, I don't know, you had a 1.5 million, is probably, who knows, a 2 million now. So that may need to be revised, that
I'm sure.
application.
Yes.
And, I mean, that kind of money, where else would we get the money to do that project? And it needs to be done.
It does.
So we'll put this on the agenda for a vote.
Okay.
For you to move forward or not with that SCOP application next month.
Very good.
All right. Oh, and I just wanted to tell you that when we made our allocations with the American Rescue Plan, we did allocate money for to conduct test wells for potable water supply on the west side of Carabelle. So we need money for hydrologists and sampling. Okay. All right then. Is there anything else for Mr. Large? Okay. We'll move on to the advisory board reports, and Ms. Tamara said her report was pretty much the same as last month. And I didn't get a chance to read it, so I can't ask you anything about it or anything. So, y'all are working on the wording for the historical sign, and you submit that, and then once that's approved, then you need to get a price from them on everything, including delivery.
Right.
And then we'll submit that for funding from the TDC.
And that was included in her report, was the wording?
Right.
Okay.
And we'll get that,
It may take 2 or 3 times going back and forth with them on that wording.
Right, well, there's,
And this is
yes.
Tamara Allen speaking now.
yes, this is Tamara Allen. Yes, we're following up on that and finding out, they haven't picked a date for the next review of the signs, the people that do the signs. So they will schedule one shortly, but it should be before the end of the calendar year.
Okay, all right.
The other thing I wanted to say is that on the next Wednesday, the 12th, we are opening the 2nd floor of the Carabelle History Museum for the first time to the public, and it looks like a museum, and it's got a fabulous new exhibit on the shipwrecks of Duck Island that I think you'll all be real proud of. It's well worth it, but we can't get upstairs if some of us, so we're having to do a little accommodation until we get our elevator, which will be about a year, but we've got the contract, Courtney signed the contract for that last week.
For the grant.
A few days ago, for the grant. So we're in good shape.
All right,
That's
wonderful, good news.
Yes.
And thank you. And you'll all go out to the History Museum and see this. They've been working a long time on the 2nd floor to get that opened up.
I did get a sneak preview of it while it was in process, and Ms. Tamara, y'all doing a wonderful job.
It looks amazing.
Okay, very good.
I've only seen pictures.
Next, we have the Carabelle Aviation Advisory Board, and they did submit their report. Do y'all have questions regarding this report? Mr. Sullivan, did you have something specifically you wanted to point out?
No.
Okay, I do have a question on your airport vehicle parking. You talk about that the FDOT requires driving training for non-aviators operating a vehicle in the airport, which that would be Brenda. I go out there from time to time for meetings and such. So does this apply to staff? Because, you know, Courtney goes out there and to the commission members and the volunteer fire department members.
Oh, yeah, it should be anybody that's driving on the airport.
Okay.
That doesn't have a non-aviator.
I'm a non-aviator.
It's a requirement of FDOT and FAA, and it's best, what we do is just have a sheet for the, when they get to hangars or tie downs or something, and they sign a sheet in case one of their relatives is driving the car, and it just states the hazards that are there, who has the right of way on the airport ramp. It covers everything that the basics that needed to be covered for it. The important reason at that airport is because as soon as you go through the gate, you're on an active ramp. So there can be a lot of conflicting traffic there, and the pilot knows who's got the right of way, but the people in the vehicles may not. So,
I know I
yeah.
don't. Okay. All right. So then all of us that have access to the airport that are non-aviators, including volunteer fire department and administrative staff. And
right. I'll make sure Courtney has the form, and then she
okay.
can pass it around.
Okay. All right. All right. Very good. Do we have any other comments?
I just think that, Tim, if you want to right now, make a public announcement about your November 16th meeting that I was reading in your report here. Kimberly Horn, isn't that going to be here?
Right, he's got, yeah, I don't know the details. Keisha might, I know it's November 16th at 6 o'clock, is that correct?
That's what's in your
okay,
report.
Right. And that's they have to have a couple of public meetings for the taxiway taxiway hangar project that they're in the middle of. Since July, the beginning of July, they started with the environmental impact study. In fact, they were going to be here tonight just to give you a little bit of a progress report, but they postponed it until next month. But then they want the public meeting so everybody knows what they have done with the environmental impact study and what the plans are for the construction.
And that's from 6 to 7, November the 16th, from 6 to 7.
Here in the chamber.
Here in the
yeah, thanks. I forgot about it.
Okay, so I was away from my desk this afternoon, and so did they write back and say that they were going to make their announcement? Did they need an agenda spot next month then? Because they were going to be here tonight, as last I talked to them this morning to report under your.
Right, what happened was Lindsay, the environmental engineer, she got called out of the office. She was the one that was going to come tonight, so there was just a little confusion of what was the purpose of it for the engineer that was going to come down. And I told them if they had I could give the message, whatever it was, but they want to be here for it, and she will be back, so she'll be here for the next meeting. It'll be very short, and
okay.
She can do it during this time because it won't take more than a minute or two.
All right. Okay, that's very good.
If it goes on, if there is any reason to go any longer, I'll make sure they know to put it on the agenda way in advance.
And in all of their documents that they sent, that they're doing all the advertising for this November 16th meeting. They're advertising in the newspaper and on the radio. They're managing all of that. It's like a workshop that they're putting on using this facility.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next we have the Crooked River Lighthouse Association, who has, Mr. Allen submitted a detailed report. We didn't get a chance to read it. It was 2 minutes before the meeting started, so he's going to give us a brief rundown.
A very brief rundown. I'm Steve Allen, president of the Carrabelle Lighthouse Association. So Brenda had asked, and y'all had asked for a report every month. This is progress toward that. I will get it earlier next month. But it really highlights the four major projects that we have going on at the Lighthouse right now. So the first one is the Crooked River Lighthouse and Keeper's House Museum rehabilitation. This was an application we made to the Florida Division of Historic Resources to restore the tower and to repaint and restore the Keeper's House. And it includes a structural repair that has been in place since really before the last restoration that we had back in 2005, I think, maybe 7. But it's the same grant program that is providing the elevator. We're a little bit further behind on getting the contract in place. I've got to make a couple adjustments. I've had a meeting with a technician, all that's in the report. So basically, we're just getting started on that, but there are notes. The lens display and case, we have basically made some progress, spent a small portion of the $24,650, but that will be, we're waiting for a Olympus to be able to schedule to come here and do the work, including installing the turntable and the motor for the rotation of it, the replica lamp. Then we'll do is Vivid, and we'll probably open that up to the public formally in February. I'll tell you about that event in a minute. Then third project to mention is the pirate ship dock project. It's challenging getting getting the like Mr. G&H Concrete, George, to get us on his agenda and get the weather right and everything. He's been so great and gracious to do this work for us. Finally got the pins in the concrete foundation, so now I can move forward. I can schedule. I've already reached out to Dr. Les to work on standing that thing up and getting started so that the public will see it. As soon as we have some visible visage of a boat there, we'll make an announcement and start asking for people to submit possible names for the new boat so that it will have a new name. I had a friend that said Phoenix would be kind of cool because it sort of rose out of the ashes of the one that we had before. I like that. But in terms of the line item, the account that we have with the original $41,676, we've spent to date $8,374 of that, and that $33,301.96 remains. I provided you with the detail of that, that paperwork. And then finally on the project is the Cool New Fence project. So the Franklin County Tourist Development Council has a museum infrastructure grant. Y'all okayed supporting that last month. We moved forward on the project, and in the meantime, the air conditioner has been replaced, and that's done. We got the fence in. It took a little bit longer because of freight travel times to get it here than we anticipated, and then Ian and preparations for Ian from locals last week when it was lined up to come sort of delayed us moving as far along as possible. But I checked with the TDC, and the work is going, and it's going to be fantastic. It looks better already out there. It just really cleans up the back of the park. It's fantastic. It's a really nice thing. So that's moving forward. We have Lanternfest on November 19th. I will come back next month. We'll make an announcement next month on more details about that. But I'm going to get something on your calendar. February the 4th and the 3rd. So the Florida Lighthouse Association, who are providing the cash match for the state restoration project and have also funded the Project Lens project, are having their winter meeting in the Crooked River Lighthouse this year. And so they'll be arriving on the 3rd Friday, have dinner at the Crooked River Lighthouse and a meeting. But then it happens to be that that's one of our weekends that we have the country market and the full moon climb, and so we anticipate opening and doing a ribbon cutting for the Lens that weekend as well. And so we're going to pull off maybe a little art show and really make that a big event. So please mark that on your calendar. No one's allowed to take any vacations. We want you all over there to see that incredible exhibit. Does anyone have? And there's read the report. There's some notes in it about the progress of anything, but if anybody have any questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Steve.
All right, so thank you everyone for your reports. We appreciate all the volunteer service that you're doing for the city of Carabelle and staff. We have no public hearing tonight. We have no quasi-judicial hearing tonight, so we'll move on to new business. And item 1 is discussion of possible action concerning new signage at George Sands Park and Evergreen Cemetery stormwater retention ponds. And the signage would be to include prohibiting domestic duck abandonment, educational resources, and contact information for help to rehome unwanted animals. And this is requested by Melissa Ward. Melissa Ward is here with us, okay? So you're ready to talk to the commission about it? And just introduce yourself for the record.
Hello, my name is Missy Ward. I moved here on June 28th from Pennsylvania, lived here full time, and I just love it here. I'm so happy.
Speak into your microphone.
I'm so happy to be here, and I thank you for having me here tonight to talk about the national problem of duck abandonment. It's actually domestic birds that cannot fly, they cannot find their own food, they need to have predator-proof night housing, and ducks are included in that, some types of swans and geese. Sands and the cemetery are 2 places where people have been abandoning these domestic ducks. I've also heard through word of mouth this week that sea quarters is another area where people have been finding ducks in the water. And so that's where I'm requesting to have these signs made. I did check with Breeze Signs in Crawfordville, and she said that she could make 12 by 18 inch signs for $25 a piece on metal, with posts for $25 as well. I don't know if you have a better place to have them done, but I'm happy to find some different examples of domestic bird abandonment signs that other duck rescuers have created already. You would be welcome to use my own phone number to help rehome the ducks. I'm happy to help that way. We could include examples of domestic ducks versus what a wild duck would look like, so people would understand the difference. I really believe it's just an issue of people not really understanding the needs of a domestic bird. Lots of people just think it would be okay to drop a bird off at a pond or a lake or a river, but the sad thing is it's truly a death sentence for that animal. So I think it would be good to include Carabelle's Ordinance 477 that prohibits animal abandonment, as well as Florida Law FAC 68A4005 that prohibits domestic duck abandonment in public waterways because it's also a hazard to the wildlife that lives in the pond already.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that we had, that there was a Florida statute that actually referred to domestic duck abandonment. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to ask some basic questions here so that we can all understand. So even though a domestic duck has wings and the web feet and all of that, we just regular folks like me, I don't know the difference. I think if a duck is put out, then the duck can handle itself. And so what happens is that these folks get ducks maybe for Easter or something for the kiddos, and then they figure out they can't take care of them, and so they bring them to a pond and think that they'll get along like that.
Exactly.
And what happens then?
And what happens then is, for example, there are 4 white pekin ducks that were abandoned at the pond. Commissioner Allen actually saw them too. 2 of the ducks had a very hard time walking. 1 duck couldn't walk at all. They were half the size, the 2 small ducks, than the other 2 pekin ducks. When I took them to Florida Wild Mammal, they told me that the ducks were actually ducklings, that they were probably about 2 to 3 months old. They didn't have the proper nutrition, and that's why they couldn't walk. The male duck has angel wing, which is a deformation of the wings because of not getting the proper nutrition as the duckling. The female also has the same issue with her legs. She can't walk, so they can be eaten by things like coyotes, bears, stray dogs, and cats. They can be hit by cars. They can't leave if there's severe weather. All kinds of things can happen to them out there. I've been feeding the ducks since I moved here on June 28th, high quality duck food that I feed. I have my own 2 ducks that I brought from Pennsylvania. I didn't know about this problem either when I bought my ducks. I was hoping for eggs when I bought my ducks, and they do eat the bugs and the weeds out of the yard, but I actually wound up with 2 males, and during mating season, switch flips, and they just really fight, so I have to keep them completely separated. And people aren't prepared for that when they get animals. So this is just one step I'm taking, and I'm asking for your help just for the signs, just maybe so that people could even see it before they buy ducks, to prevent it. Or maybe word of mouth, someone's thinking about getting ducks and thinking that they'll just drop them off, and someone sees a sign and says that's probably not a good idea, but that's what happens to them when they're dropped off at a pond.
Okay, do we have questions about this from the commission members?
I don't really have a question, I know that there have been ducks there in the past.
Yes.
We don't, and to my knowledge, you commissioners and mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, Gordon, we haven't encouraged ducks to be in any of the ponds.
We don't
Yeah,
encourage
we
it.
don't
and
solicit, we
haven't
don't
put them
encourage, correct. And if we have someone that, if you will, drops off a duck, or any domestic animal, I would think that we would want to move that animal because we're really not suited, if you will, to be in the animal care business. Animal, mammals, what have you. I was actually visiting the pond yesterday. I didn't see any ducks.
You didn't see them?
No. I was there for another purpose, but I didn't see any ducks. Are there ducks there now?
Yes, there's 2 male Pekin ducks still at the pond that I feed every day.
I walked the entire pond yesterday looking at something else, and
They stay on the 3rd Street side over there.
and I didn't see the ducks. So, but anyway, if there's ducks in the pond, and especially if they're domestic ducks, they need to be in the right place.
I know that there, maybe 6 weeks ago or so, there was a confrontation there and we know that John Johnson captures our injured animals and birds and 4-legged animals as well.
He's been helping me as well.
And he'll capture them, and Richard Frabel as well. And many times then they're turned over in a cage, I guess, and Commissioner Allen takes them up to where do you take them?
Yeah, over in Walkella County, there's a 180-acre area where they restore injured animals, and also if they can turn them loose in the wild, we do that. And if they can't survive, they can be used for display and not be out in the open.
Okay.
But we turn loose ducks and pigeons and everything.
Well, I think then Mr. John Johnson was capturing 2 very injured or ill domesticated ducks there at Sands Park. And someone didn't want him to capture them, I think. I think that was going on, and they called the police, and the deputy.
I think that was me.
Okay.
Yeah, so FWC came, Carabelle police came,
Yeah.
and the sheriff's deputy came. I had actually tried calling around like to City Commerce, Chamber of Commerce, and City Hall, and I called the Franklin County Humane League. They were the ones that gave me John Johnson's phone number, and then he got me in contact with Wild Mammals. So I took the 2 small ducklings to them right away, and I had captured one of the other drakes, but they made me let it go. So they were really scared of me after that, after I'd caught them. So I've just been feeding them, and the sad thing is it's really hard to rehome a duck. You wouldn't really realize that, but especially ones that have special needs, like it's really difficult. They're scared, they don't want to be touched, they're afraid of other animals. So once it's happened, it's very difficult for the duck. I mean, it's really sad.
I don't see a problem with 2 or 3 signs around the pond that have some signage that says that, I don't know if you want to say discourage or not allowed. something along those lines for abandonment of domestic ducks or any other domestic animals at that park or anywhere, and quote the city ordinance on animal abandonment and the Florida statute that you made reference to. Maybe you need to bring us back some examples of signage, and we would put this, I hate to table items, I like to move things forward, but since we don't have examples of signage for us to approve here tonight, if this commission is in favor of moving forward with that, then we can. Are we?
I think, as far as I'm concerned, I support that. Some signage, a limited amount of signs, discouraging, as you just stated, ducks or any other mammals or wild or domestic animals or any animals. Because again, our parks are not zoos, and we don't have the staff to maintain and take care of those animals.
And some folks have gotten irritated with us in the past because the ducks were being killed there constantly, but they couldn't fend for themselves, killed by dogs or coyotes or whatever, and that they wanted us to take care of them, and we just had no way to do it.
I guess the duck, educate me a little bit. You know ducks.
Yes.
I guess the little duckling, though, you would think that its defense from a dog or a coyote or anything else would to be out in the middle of that pond.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so. The reason why, I guess that would work but during the nighttime, if they're sleeping, they wouldn't know if it's coming. That would be the problem. Ducks can't see really well at dusk and later, so they can't see well what's coming after them. Also, when I was at Florida Wild Mammal dropping off today, I was actually taking a Cooper's Hawk in for FWC, and she had a duck that had its leg bitten off by an alligator. So it was someone's pet. They have a little wheelchair for the duck and everything once it's released, but even someone's own pond at their house, an alligator can slip in there and do some harm. So.
Because I'm not as familiar with the domestic as you described as I am the wildland duck. I have hunted ducks before.
Yes.
And the ducks fend for themselves well out in the wild. Of course, sometimes they're caught.
Yes.
Sometimes they're caught by an alligator. Sometimes they're caught by a fox.
Yes, sir.
So.
And Mr. Fred Amon, who pretty much all of us know, has asked several years in the past, for a few years in a row, he wanted the city to build duck houses, build a mound out there in the pond and put duck houses for these domestic ducks to stay. And that was, really encouraging more domestic ducks. So we're just not prepared for that. So,
well, as far as I'm concerned, I'll go back to what you said, Mayor. I'm interested in looking at some signage, a limited amount of signage.
Very limited, 3.
And let's look at some examples and see where we're going to go with it.
All right, so let's just carry this item forward to under old business next month with some examples.
I'll make a motion to table this item until next month.
Okay, thank you.
And Commissioner Allen, you're seconding that one?
If you see me sneaking out early, please don't think I got bored, but I have to duck out to go put my ducks away before nighttime hits.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Ms. Keisha, that motion is by Commissioner Melander, second by Commissioner Allen to table this item for next month for more information from Ms. Ward. Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. And that is item 1. So now we need to move to item 2, which is discussion of possible action regarding reconvening the HR committee to revise the contractor's project for landscape maintenance cleanup service in the CRA district to be an appropriate job description for a full-time city/CRA employee, which, basically it would be a CRA employee supervised by, I believe we've agreed upon Dustin with the assistance of Courtney.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so that happened right quick, and we have a motion. That's good. I wish they were all. We have that motion by Commissioner Melander, second by Commissioner Allen, to reconvene the HR committee to rewrite this or make an appropriate job description. And so now we're in discussion. And our HR committee chairperson, moderator, Mr. Tom Magnan is here. And I would just want to ask, so that we can get this official, would you like to volunteer again, Mr. Magnan, for this service to
Yes.
oversee this committee?
Yes.
Okay, so let the record show that Mr. Magnan did say from the audience and motion yes that he wants to work with this committee when they reconvene. And they'll need to get together and set up a meeting date or two.
And I again like to thank you publicly, Mr. Tom, very much for your volunteer work.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll be in touch with Courtney maybe next week, Courtney, and we can kind of figure out when we want to get started.
Mr. Tom, I'll be out next week, but you can email me,
Okay,
and we'll go from there.
okay, sounds
Okay, and I will say here that, and you just heard from Ms. Tamara and Mr. Tim Sullivan, Steve Allen, and now Tom Magnan. We have volunteers all over the city that work and do jobs that would normally be paying jobs that help the citizens of this city, this staff, and this board, and it helps to keep our budget within limits so that we can afford the taxes here in Carabelle. And I appreciate all of the services that are done by the volunteer people that we have that serve our community. Okay, so all in favor on this? Okay. Any opposed? And that motion carries to reconvene the HR committee. And we'll move on to item 3, discussion of possible action regarding funding the recommended Ryan Drive stormwater drainage improvements with the American Rescue Plan Act grant money. And so we have this conceptual that Mr. Russell Large with Innovia has drawn for us. We set aside some monies for stormwater improvements from the American Rescue Plan grant money, the $1.4 million that was given to us by the federal government. And we had some complaints of stormwater runoff from the roadways, and Mr. Russell and Courtney went over to meet with the property owners here, Mr. Oxendine. And Russell, would you explain that for public record? We've already had a demonstration at the CRA meeting, but I'm asking this for public record now.
Certainly, there's an existing cross drain there that historically had provided some relief from drainage that flows from the east side of the roadway towards the west side. So that cross drain has been plugged for a number of years. Right now, the water piles up on the east side and comes over the center line of the roadway and floods across to the Oxendine property. He does have some on-site issues that he'll have to contend with, and that's his private issue to deal with, not necessarily the city's, but to provide relief for the water coming over the roadway so we can control it and get it out to the river. We would open up the pipe that's currently clogged that goes under Ryan Drive and connect out to the river. Also, there is some storm drain that extends north along Ryan Drive from US 98. I did request a price quote from Churchwell Pipe Services. They had done some work on this pipe before. And I got a phone call from him today, in fact, and he said that they have twice tried to clean that pipe out, and they were able to get their equipment to the far side of the roadway, but apparently he says that it's been, there's a structure there, some concrete that he cannot get through. So there's a physical block on the far side of Ryan Drive. So that's new information. So we put some thought into that, but digging up that side of the pipe may be the next order of business, but we can discuss that in some more detail another time. We did prepare a cost estimate for that project, which came out to $130,000.
Okay, I have a question. Let's go back to the picture, Ms. Courtney. Thank you for putting those up there for all of us to see. So this cross drain here going across Ryan Drive, the southern end, right there, there's some type of a head wall in there or something that's blocking that pipe for drainage. Is that pipe on FDOT property?
It's not clear. We don't know. We know that the head wall is in the right of way here. The end of the pipe, it's not clear where that extends. It could be on this particular property, which is owned by the state of Florida.
Question, Russell. If I understood you right, you said that the company that tried to open this pipe twice, they went the width of the road, Ryan Drive, and they ran into an obstacle which seems to be a head wall of some kind. Okay, so that tells me that that head wall, if they know that they were just clearing the asphalt into the right of way, that tells me that that would be on city right of way. Is that correct?
Yes, it may depend on the angle here. Is it closer to the Oxidine property or closer to 98? But that property right here is owned by the state of Florida. It could be.
That drawing is a conceptual. I have to remind myself, that's not done from a survey. But now, you know that FDOT property there from 10th Street going over to 11th Street, it's a triangle. It widens out there. It's and there's some fencing coming out from where Mr. Kip Kane used to live. That is improper. I mean, the FDOT has a lot of land right there at the corner of Bryan Drive and 98 on the right side as we're looking at it. So if that was an FDOT drainage pipe, I feel like we need to know this before we...
We do, and I feel the same way, that's where I'm going. And my next question, is that a metal pipe or a concrete pipe?
From what I can tell, it's concrete.
Okay.
I can see just a little of it, and it's concrete.
Yeah, and my next thought in mind, and I'm not the guy, the expert by any means, is over on that right of way, whether it's on city or whether it's on FDOT, that may be crushed and caved in over there, creating that head wall. And I go back to what you were saying, is the fellow or the company that tried to go through there and unclog it said he only got through to the other side of the pavement.
That's what he said.
Okay, and if he barely cleared it, what my thought is maybe soliciting the county. They have some equipment, and dig up that right of way right there and see what we have.
That's an idea, but could be in the FDOT property.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking on our right of way.
Oh, our right of way.
Yeah.
Right there on our right of way.
On our right of way here, yeah.
Mhm.
And asking the county to help us with that and see what we got immediately on our right of way.
Right. There's a thin probe that they could use to punch through the soil and see if they can locate it first and then dig in that location.
County has some good equipment that they can do that with. They have a scooper, etc., road department, and they might can help us verify where the block is at.
If this is an FDOT pipe, drainage pipe, now would we have to get a permit from them to put stormwater down that pipe?
If it's an existing pipe,
Yes, we're gonna bring stormwater on the Rhine Drive down to this pipe. If that's an FDOT owned pipe.
I see your question.
Uh-huh.
We would be making a connection to the DOT pipe.
Yes, sir.
In that case, so yes, it would require, that would require.
Are we gonna have to have a survey?
Yes.
Next question is there any way we can determine where the exit is at that pipe on FDOT?
Without digging it up, I don't know how to.
That probe you're talking about?
Yeah. That's right.
Any chance?
If it's completely plugged as he describes, it probably would not. Probably not. Ground penetrating radar, that's another idea. We talked about that on Gray Avenue.
Yes.
So that's something that we could use here.
How costly and how effective?
The ground penetrating radar, that's going to run, I believe that's going to be, I can tell you more specifically. Yeah, that's going to be about 7,500 to do.
Is it really effective?
It is. Yeah, if it's there, that would locate it.
It would locate it, but it wouldn't tell us where the clog's at.
No, we still have to dig it up. So I think that idea to ask the county to help probe it and then to uncover it, I think that's not bad.
Okay. When do we need a survey?
At the pleasure of the board, we can go ahead and obtain that.
Obtain a survey while we're asking the county to dig up, and let's find out where this thing is.
Yes.
You'll do that?
A survey, mayor's survey on the supposed drainage?
Well, a survey to find out where the DOT property is.
Gotcha.
So a survey to find out where the DOT property is
Yes.
located. And then when we locate the pipe, we'll know then at that point, once we have the survey, whether it's till Roddenberry, hello, whether it's on the DOT side or the city side.
That's right.
If it's crushed, and I think it's worth the investment, because if it's crushed and it's a DOT pipe, then the DOT will need to repair that.
Right. Yeah, I was going there too. And my next question is, I'm trying to save money. Is there any chance, in your experience, Russell, dealing with DOT, is there any chance that we might contact DOT or Ferrovial, and some of them have a survey, a right-of-way survey on that area right there?
They do have the survey.
Well, if they have that, why should we have to pay for one? We could get within, you can take a common tape measure, and if you've got their survey with distances, and get within just a few feet of it.
When they did the resurfacing for US 98, they would have done a survey at that time. Sometimes for a resurfacing project, they don't do the full topo, but we can obtain that document and find out if that included this in that survey. We can do that.
Wouldn't that save us some money on the survey?
Sure.
Okay, so,
there's also some old construction documents when the project was originally built. When we did the Avenue B project, we found some information that was really dated, but we can look back at that as well and see if that would tell us anything.
all right, so let's let Russell reach out to see if the FDOT has a survey of that area first. while Courtney is reaching out to the county to see if they can help with locating the pipe. And if there is no survey, if the DOT has no survey, but they should have a survey, it may be antiquated. And then if there's not, then can staff move forward with ordering a survey?
That's fine, but
Okay.
I feel sure the DOT's gonna have one.
All right. So we'll do that. I would recommend that we do that before we, because that might change, that's gonna, whatever comes of this is going to change your scope of work and your cost and all of that, I think.
Yes, that was my position when we discussed this item last time, was, first of all, we wanna make sure that we can open that up before we do any more expensive work along that eastern side of Ryan Drive to move that water.
Okay, we'll either put this on old business, or we might put it on Russell's list of things to do here. I'll discuss that with Courtney and see how it would be best. But for now, so we will move forward, but for now, we would want a motion for Russell to reach out to the FDOT for their survey of that area, and for Courtney to reach out to the county for help to locate this pipe where it is actually existing. And then,
I'll make that motion.
okay, and let's see, we'll move forward from there. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Millender. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any further discussion? Now, once the FDOT shows you a picture of their survey, how will we know where those, how will we know where that is on the face of the earth?
We should be able to interpret the survey. If we're lucky, the survey would show the pipe that we're not sure where it is.
Oh,
If
that
we're
might
lucky,
be,
that
yeah.
would be really lucky.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wondering if we would then need Roddenberry to interpret the survey and put out, markers or something to tell us. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the FDOT
Yeah.
is. Okay. All right.
I didn't get that second.
That's Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, we're going to take a 5 to 8 minute recess here. We'll reconvene shortly. All right, we're reconvening this meeting here on Thursday evening here at the Carabelle City Hall. It's October 6th. We're reconvening our commission meeting. And we're at item 4, discussion and possible action regarding proposals to rent city-owned property at 104 Southeast Avenue B. And I'll toss this over to Ms. Courtney for now.
We had 2 proposals. One of them has withdrawn, so we only have one. I hope I pronounced this right. Ms. Siegert is proposing to open an upholstery shop. I have some pictures of some of their work that they have up here. They're proposing a 6-month short lease at $475 a month, and then they would reevaluate at 6 months and see if they want to move forward with a longer lease. This was advertised. It was advertised, and they had 30 days to respond to the advertisement. So that's how we got the proposals that we received.
And you had 2 proposals.
I had 2 proposals, one's withdrawn, and I did send you guys that email where they had withdrew their proposal.
All right, so do we want to approve or disapprove renting the property there? It's the old police station building next to the Justice Building, which now houses the Careville History Museum.
I would like to make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you. And that motion to approve this lease?
Second question.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Millender. That motion is by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Millender. Yes, sir. Discussion.
Just a question to Courtney. Courtney, you and I have talked about it, but I failed to ask you. Is the building suitable for this tenant as is? There's no modifications that we don't have to do?
You're here in the audience, she can answer them.
Would you come up, ma'am, and state your name for us in the microphone and answer Commissioner Millender's question?
My name is Daylene Seegert. I'm from Michigan, but we have just bought property on Whittle Road, so we're moving the end of this month. And you asked about the building, if it was suitable. I've not been able to get in the building, just look at the windows. The most suitable part that I need is a cement floor, and it has that.
Okay, what I was concerned about was any monetary expenses that we may have to acquire to get the building ready for the tenant.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I just need power.
Okay.
And I thought she had already seen the inside of the building, but it's large enough for you?
It is, I have a small upholstery shop. My items are small, basically, so yes, that would work just great.
And you know that utilities are not included?
I know that.
Okay.
I would assume, I just assumed that.
You can come by and get a key if you want to take a look at it before we draw up any, you know, I can get a lease ready.
Would that be, could I look at it
Sure.
tomorrow? I
Sure.
fly out back home.
Sure, no problem. Come by in the morning and I'll give you a key.
Thank you.
Do you ever sell, or do you just, do you sell your product? I mean, would you have customers coming by to see you from time to time, or you just take in work? I don't know.
I am really good at finding free furniture on the side of the road.
Okay.
And people throw out unbelievably nice pieces. My expertise is mid-century and antiques. And people want more IKEA furniture. And so when I find a really nice piece, I pick it up and then I can redo it and sell it. But I have a lot of clients that they bring their furniture, and I have my own, I have samples. So they're able to, it's like a design studio.
Okay.
So they're able to come in and I would have samples there for people to look at.
I was just wondering, would there be much, foot traffic? Would you encourage foot traffic? Because we do want...
I'm not encouraging a lot of foot traffic.
Oh.
I would be more I'm not a 9 to 5 type. It wouldn't be a 9 to 5 business. I would be there every day, but it's not a, hey, if I have by appointment, absolutely would be there.
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing. And there'd be a number to call if somebody wanted to see me, but yeah, upholstery is different than, and the one reason I really like the shop is because of the windows in the front, and people don't understand upholstery and how it works, and I just thought it would be so fun for people to walk by and go, oh my gosh, look at that piece, and then a couple of days later, see the progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tie it from a base all the way up. I mean, I work with just a frame and can bring it all the way up.
Well, we do know the tremendous success that the new flower shop has here.
Yes.
And we don't have a lot of services like that, like a florist and an upholstery shop. We do have upholstery for boats and canvas, that type work, but nothing like this, so.
Okay.
Interesting.
Thank you.
So we have that motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Millender. Any other discussion, questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries, so congratulations, and you'll get a key from Courtney to check it out. All right, we'll move on to item 5, discussion of possible action regarding the Juneteenth holiday. And I believe this was requested by Commissioner Brown, is that correct?
I guess.
Okay, it seemed like you told me Commissioner Brown had requested this item.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was just on the agenda because we needed to discuss it.
Okay, I didn't know, did you have something that you needed to present with it or anything like that? Okay. And this is a new legal holiday. It was established in 2021, on June 17, 2021. It's observed on June the 19th. And currently, there are 11 federal legal holidays, and presently, the city of Carabelle enjoys 12 and a half paid holidays. So this would, adding the June 13th, which is a legal holiday, would add, the city employees would then have 13 and a half paid holidays. And some of our city employees make double time on all the paid holidays. We had discussed this last year. You know, the staff had been getting calls, why isn't the city observing the Juneteenth, the new Juneteenth? And I needed to be reminded to put it on the budget workshop, and it was not put on the, but we all forgot about it, I think. So I did ask Miranda to calculate the extra cost for the double time and the cumulative hours for loss of productivity for this additional holiday. And so the double time would cost the, let's see, I've got it here, she sent it to me. The double time is going to be for the general fund an extra $827 of holiday pay on the general fund, and on the water and sewer fund it's going to be an additional $534 of holiday pay. And then the total loss of hours of productivity would be, she's got 100 hours, she calculated, 24 hours for administrative, 8 hours for the police department, 24 hours for streets and roads, 44 hours for the water side. And sewer, no hours because they're working, but they're getting paid double time on holidays. There's always got to be someone present at the wastewater treatment plant. So I understand in Apalachicola, they discussed, because this is, you know, 13 and a half holidays, paid holidays, and in Apalachicola, they did discuss if they would like to, if you give a holiday, are you going to take one? Because they already have, they have Good Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, the 24th, Christmas Eve, and half day of New Year's. So and those days are not federal holidays. So, you know, I wonder what the other, how many holidays are the other agencies in this area, say like Apalachicola, Franklin County, Bluntstown, Sopchoppy, the school board. How many holidays are these other agencies receiving?
Tony, his work with the state was 11?
11.
Yeah, 11 days with the state of Florida.
It's changed now since I've left, but it was 11.
But they have 11 holidays now. I just looked it up a couple of days ago, including Juneteenth. They have the federal holidays are 11. I'm wondering if we might add this to the HR committee and let them just take a look and reach out to like Apalachicola, Sopchoppy, Port St. Joe, Bluntstown, those cities, and the Franklin County government, the school board, and the DOC, and see how many paid holidays they have, so that, you know, we can, and then get that information back by written reply, like an email or something, and try to make it an odd number of folks you reach out to. So, you know, and just report back to us so we can make a, it's June 13th or June 19th, Juneteenth. We've got several months before that happens, and I'm certain we can make a decision on that.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too. And we can see if they've got the information before we have our next agenda items are due, and if they do, we'll have it on the next November agenda. If not, we'll have it on the December agenda. Is that all right? Do we need a motion for that, to have the HR committee do some research on these other government agencies to see how many holidays they have?
So are we considering switching holidays?
it may be possible, you know, we just need to understand, I feel like we need to understand what other agencies are offering before we make a decision here.
I think that's a good idea.
I think, you know, it would be, that is our fiduciary duty.
Need more information.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this item for further research.
Second.
And I can reach out to the clerks around this area.
Okay, that'd be good.
I already have some of them.
Okay, so we have that motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Melander, second by Commissioner Allen, to table for further research by the HR committee and their report. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, we're moving into old business now. Item 1, discussion and possible action regarding development of boat ramp overflow parking area on the Southeast Avenue C Southeast Avenue C. And Mr. Large has developed a parking conceptual design here at our request. And thank you very much. And if you want to explain to us how that traffic flow would go on that, that would be good. Mr. Large.
Okay, so the way the parking flow would work here is very similar to the other boat parking area. The difference being here is that this parking is not surrounded by roadways on all sides, like the triangle pieces. So the boats would enter here off Avenue C, and this would be one way for the boats. So they would park nose in and then back out to leave, and then they would leave through 3rd Street, Southeast Street. So these are the same dimensions as the triangle boat parking. This plan shows 21 boat spaces. We also provided some regular vehicle spaces here. That would be for folks who may be meeting up with people to fish, or whatever comes of the old City Waterworks building, that could be some parking provided for that building.
Okay, and it looks like you have parking on that east side of that square as well.
Yes, here.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Okay.
There's a total of 21 boat parking.
Truck trailer.
Yeah, truck trailer and then the additional people.
You have a total of 21 spaces in that current area that we have cleared there?
No. So it would require some clearing closer to the 3rd Street right away. Right now, I believe it's cleared up to about right here.
In the tree.
How many?
And I believe there, this is the fenced-in area where sewer manholes and equipment is located.
Is that not wetlands?
Some of it may be. We did think about that. There may be. I did go look at it. The ditch is certainly, the ditch on 3rd Street certainly is. So there would be some impact to that wetland area by the construction of this driveway. That's just something we have to work through and get permit.
That'd be wonderful if we get 21 spots there. But that's the reason why I was asking the question. You're the professional. That's the reason why we're looking at you. I haven't explored it, but there are some wetlands right there. I didn't know if we could get through those.
Ms. Tamara has a comment.
Oh.
How many large old growth trees are we gonna have to cut down to do that?
Just from my memory, there's some large pine trees in that area.
That's a tree.
I don't recall that there were large oak trees there. There's some large pine trees. And I don't remember the exact size, but some. And we could back off this. We could back off this if necessary in the final design. This is a concept plan.
If I could, Ms. Tamara, I'm thinking, and Russell, correct me if I'm wrong, she is looking at some old age, they're not old, but
No,
there's some
they're-
old age oaks, but they're going up that hill. Most of them are on that hill, so we're not gonna be able to park up on it anyway, so I don't see them being affected, right, Russ?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, you may be able to see some contours here, but the toe of the slope is about here for that large hill. It goes up to elevation 36. And we're not touching that slope.
Is that where you were talking about, Ms. Tamer?
Well, that and, you know, we say with a lot of humor that they call that Tamara Allen Park. So there's been a lot of thought over the years about what would Tamara Allen Park look like. And I just never thought of it looking like a boat ramp parking. You know, that wasn't my concept, but it really is a very good use of the property that the city owns to meet a current need. So I currently get that, but I just, so much of my little stream that's gonna come down and go around and all the things that are gonna fit in with the wetlands and all that. Brook Green, a small version of Brook Green Gardens, you know, that's, anyway, I'm sorry, I'm out of order.
Do we have a guesstimate on the cost?
Yes.
And then you would tell us like how, you know, what goes first and all
Yes.
of that.
Okay. So, you know, if we were gonna do just a simple gravel lot, I think we're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of 60,000. If we're going to pave it or use pervious concrete like the other lot, I think we're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of 150.
Would it involve clearing out some of those trees just to the right of our sign proposed to make a bigger space?
Yes, it would. So towards 3rd Street.
Yeah.
So here I go with the survey again. It's the only word I think I know. But do we have a current survey of this property? That's good.
Finally.
That's a good thing. I'm just wondering about not fully developing it. I mean, of course, we would need the roadway out to 3rd Street with a culvert. I'm sure that's,
Right.
okay. Permitting, you said something about permitting.
Right.
Okay, tell me.
Yeah, we would definitely need to permit the, this impact to the wetland. The ditches would be classified as a surface water. So we would have to demonstrate that. And any other wetlands that were in this vicinity, we would have to obtain a permit for that. And that may require that we back off of this to minimize the impact to the wetland. But, you know, we would need to delineate the wetland. That would be one of the first steps. Along in conjunction with making sure we have what we need on the survey.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure I have a topo, so let me look and see.
Well, where did these topo numbers come from?
This is from LiDAR. This is the GIS topography. It
Wasn't
gets you
there a
close.
survey when we did the brownfield
We have a
study?
survey, but I think it may be a boundary,
Oh,
but I'll check. We may have a topo.
There would also be some stormwater permitting that we would have to do. You know, I think a stormwater facility somewhere in this area would be needed.
Even if it was gravel?
It would be smaller if it were gravel. But again, this is a concept plan. It's not meant to be final. But we could begin the design process, locate where the wetlands are, use the survey topographic information, and nail that down a little better. But, we think this is the layout that fit the property the best.
I believe that if it remained gravel, then it would not be something that was a forever and ever amen, or cost a lot of money in the future to change it into something else. Of course, now the gravel would have to be maintained. You'd have to replace gravel from time to time.
If we put gravel, term we use it, road base in there, a good depth, similar to what's in there, is pretty sturdy. And it would last pretty good.
But it wouldn't be like concrete.
Exactly, and well, I'm leaning toward the gravel myself,
Me too.
not the impervious. But, it would be more cost effective for us, for the city, and we'd accomplish the same goal with the parking. And, as the mayor stated, that's another concern, and as Ms. Tamara brought out, if we choose to do something else with that property in the future, it'd be much easier to do.
Right. And would you say that the need for overflow parking would be 20% of the year, 50% of the year, 80% of the year?
Not 80%.
Right.
But some days we could fill that up, but not.
Yeah, but he asked about percentage of the
Yeah,
year.
right.
Percentage of the year, it's a low percentage of the year. But during the times that low percentage is there, it's there.
Yes, Greg?
Are they gonna be able to back those rigs out of those spots? That's just a question I'm looking at.
That's a similar geometry as the triangle piece.
But aren't those pulled through?
Some of
Some
Some
are.
They're not
of
supposed
them?
to be.
Yeah.
And if there's one parked in front of them, they
Some
can't.
on the north runways, because you could go out there and you see.
That's true.
In some
You may
parts
not.
of it, not in all
You may
parts.
not want people to do that.
They'll be in there.
When we went over to Spring Creek, I think it was Spring Creek, they backed out there. All of those were back out.
Just because they can afford a boat, don't mean.
You should know how to back your trailer up though if you're driving one of these. I mean, they gotta get it in the woods.
Well, the ones that I noticed that utilize that parking area, and I didn't see them all by any means, but the ones I saw that utilize that parking area with those large trailers, long trailers, every one of them was backed in. They didn't pull in to back out, they all backed in. Now, they were, the 5 or 6 that I saw there the last time I saw, they were parked in very pretty, but they all backed in right up against that hill over there.
When I first looked at
In here.
this, I imagined it being you pull in this way and back in and then pull out that way, but whatever. When I first looked at this in the email, that's how I thought of it too. They would be pulling in from,
and
or
backing
backing in,
space.
but you would.
So he asked the percentage, and certainly,
Right.
we know it's not used 80%. Commissioner Walden said 10%, needed. But
365 days.
yeah, somewhere around, I don't know, 20%, 10%, something like that.
That'd be a good guess.
Yeah, and maybe we don't need to develop the whole thing. Some days, some few days, we know we could get it jam-packed full, but, yeah. But it's something that could also be used for parking for fireworks, parking
Holiday
for
on
festivals, holiday, the Riverfront Festival, or any, whatever happens with this in the future with this water plant. There's 8 parking spaces. I mean, there's no reason that on slow days that we can't rent spaces here to people that want to stay overnight for Dog Island, something like that even. So if they want to stay a week or something, you could lease spaces for a week, sell them a permit to stay over there.
I believe if we owned the entire block and made it one big parking lot, on certain days, they'd still be parked down Guff Avenue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, there'd be that many of them
This
that
would be
continue to
closer.
come. Yeah.
Oh,
Down here.
But we did discuss allowing some nonprofits to come out on these busy days and, with a golf cart and work for tips or something like they do at the seafood festival, that kind of thing. I think that the CERT team, makes good money when they provide the golf cart going back and forth at the seafood festival, yeah. So do we want Mr. Russell to move forward with what would be the next steps?
The next step would be to make sure we have the survey information we need and delineate the wetlands. And I would say if trees are a concern, make sure that the trees are located on the survey.
I would like to look at, I think I know the ones that Miss Tamara's talking about. They're not oaks, they're pines.
Yeah.
The large old age pines, Miss Tamara, am I right? Russell, I don't think there's but a handful of those.
Okay.
Let's look and see what we got.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we can work around,
Yeah. Because I know there's a couple of them, if we took them down, it would open it up a little bit more. But there's also a little bit of space between some of them. So, anyway.
I think those are the next steps.
And I think we should, as the mayor was just saying, I think we should inch forward with it, try to create some more parking spaces.
Yeah, and we can, this schematic can evolve
Yeah.
and be completely different.
Okay. All right, so do we want a motion for Russell to move forward with then securing survey information, delineating the wetlands, delineating the trees, location and type?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? And this motion carries. And then we'll have you report back again at the next meeting. That is Brown and Millender. And then, and he's going to report back. We'll have this as an agenda item at the next meeting as well. Okay, thank you. All right, number 2 under old business is discussion and possible action regarding Mr. Hartman. Is Mr. Shear on the phone?
Mr. Shear is coordinating the city of Carabelle. Hi, Ahmed. I'm good. I'm going to put you on speakerphone. All right, thank you. All right.
Okay, we have item 2 under old business, discussion and possible action regarding amendment to contract for sale and purchase between the city of Carabelle and McDowell Housing Partners, the New River Landing subdivision.
And on the phone we have Ahmed Martin.
Ahmed Martin? Ahmed Martin is on the phone.
All right,
Okay.
from McDowell. If I could
Go
just
ahead.
lead off with just a couple of points. I have talked about this with staff. I've talked about it with different commissioners on a number of points, concerns, that sort of thing. And what we have before us is an amendment to the contract. So the amendment requested is to push the closing date out to the end of February 2023. As additional ideas to consider while working on this item, what I would ask the commission to consider in the event of approval would be to ask for 2 additional terms to be added to the amendment. The first would be that this is going to be the last amendment, that there would be no further extensions granted. The second, that following closing, within 90 days, that the work begin on demolishing Old City Hall and it be completed within 6 months of closing. So just ideas to consider in working on this item tonight while you consider it.
Okay.
And certainly Mr. Martin's on the phone to answer any questions. And this is being sprung on him as well, these concepts, so we can have kind of a dialogue here to work through it.
And so what you're suggesting and what you have proposed here is that we have a condition on this amendment. If we are going to approve tonight to sign this extension amendment to extend again, this would be the 5th amendment now in 2 years to extend the closing date. We would place some conditions on this amendment.
And when I say conditions, they would be, and again, we can talk about other ones, and McDowell folks may have some themselves, but these would be terms of that amendment. So they'd be added to it. When we're amending, this is an opportunity for both sides to get the agreement the way we're comfortable with.
And someone had given me another suggestion today that you listed 2 there. And another suggestion would be that the housing construction would begin within 1 year from the date of closing. And so that would put the proposal here that this is the absolute last extension. That the demo would begin on the property within 90 days of closing and be complete within 6 months from the date of closing on February the 29th, if we agreed to this. And that housing construction would begin within 1 year from the date of closing, which they have proposed as February the 29th. And I'm just going to go ahead and we had another report this evening under public comment that there has been a lot of concern on whether or not this development is in the best interest of the city. Through our reports from public regarding the Jordan Bay, and we can certainly be very vigorous with code enforcement that applies to such things as grass cutting and garbage management. You know, if we decide to amend this, or I don't know what to say. Otherwise, you know, we would just terminate the agreement. But I have 2 folks here that want to speak under public comment. Have y'all submitted cards to speak? Okay. Do we want to hear them now, or
I have one.
Okay. Does the commission want to speak, or you want to hear public comment? Want to hear public comment first? Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Come forward.
I have Jessica.
Okay. And then that's Mr. Martin on the phone.
Yes.
We're going to have, she's going to speak now and say her name, public comment, a resident of Jordan Bayou.
Hi, my name is Jessica Lewis. I am a resident of Jordan Bayou. I'm here to not only add on to what you guys already know, but this letter was sent out June 22nd that we were supposed to do income verifications before our rent was raised. I was never able to turn this in. I was told from the manager, which is something that you guys need to include also, if Grail Management is going to be managing this company, you're going to continue to have problems. The manager told me that there was no need to sign any paperwork in text messages, which is a lie. How can you say that my family, when I'm not working, and my disabled husband that is getting Social Security disability is not qualified to be on a low income list? I also have that in text messages also. Has she collected any information as far as my income? I would be on the low income list, which does include 8 homes. Not 3, I can name 5 right off the top of my head that are getting low income housing. So like I said, I have these text messages, and this is all coming from Andrea Gay. She's denying me low income. She's discriminating against me and many other people. There's about 10 houses available. We know that there's low income available. There's an imaginary list that they keep playing on everybody. Everybody keeps asking for this list. They will not give it to us. Last I knew, I was 3rd on the list. Now I don't even qualify and I don't even have a job. So if y'all would like to see any of that, I have that here if you want. Secondly, codes. Building codes, I left my phone over there, I think. I pulled out building codes for 2022, is it? This is my vent for my dryer. It's obviously not 4 inches in diameter. It's supposed to be 4 inches in diameter. They took the 4-inch vent and literally squeezed it, you can see here, to fit. And these vents are going up. So all my moisture was staying inside my vent. And now, if you could see, my walls, everything is full of dust. My dryer is full of dust. You guys are worried about a burn ban. This is the issue. This is a code issue. This will catch on fire. We are in a forest. You guys really need to consider, reconsider this contract for New River Landon, and you also need to add in the fact that Grill Management is managing low income. I don't trust the managers with my income. I don't feel like it's being added correctly. If I look at my income for last year, I made $28,000 with my husband. To qualify for low income with a household of 5, you need 32. So tell me why I don't qualify. So those are my main things at this point. I feel like I'm going to try to hold my rent and put it in escrow. I did receive papers from the court where I can legally hold my rent in situations like this. So I'm really going to take advantage of that and try to represent myself as much as I can, because I'm obviously low income. I can't afford an attorney. So I really need the city to back us up. And also, let's go into the last thing. You brought up the grass at the office. There's also grass at my neighbor's house next door. So they're bird feeding everyone. They came and cleaned just the front of Jordan Bayou, but didn't clean the middle part that's covering the road now. They do not care. They're gonna do whatever they can and just kind of get on by to get this contract signed, and it's not right. We're all suffering at Jordan Bayou, and all these next residents in a year will be suffering also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Hartman, I honestly don't know where to move from here. I don't know, if the city can put terms that they must hire a certain property management company. I don't know if the city can place terms regarding their rental rates. I would think that that is more dictated through the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, where they get their funding from. One time to the podium, I'm sorry. Okay.
If I may suggest, I understand those, Mayor, the concerns or things you just mentioned. That's contractual matters between the developer and, I guess, Florida Housing Corporation and their own internal contractual things. We wouldn't get involved in that as a city. Possibly a place to start, just so you understand kind of your options, basically, as a commission, is we've talked about these 3 terms. We could hear from Mr. Martin whether those terms, what their position is on those terms, so that we know if they're acceptable to them, so you can consider things.
Okay, I think Mr. Martin would like to speak. Yes, sir?
Yes, good evening. I'm sorry, I'm at a bit of a loss because I'm new to the company, and I was not involved in the Jordan Bayou project at all. Doesn't excuse any of the things that I've heard on the line tonight. I would like to, I guess, Dan, you have my email address, but would like to kind of take on personally that person's complaint. I wasn't able to see, I'm sure there were images of the vent for the area. In terms of the terms of the conditions and additions to the amendment, we are agreeable to all of them. We are on a construction timeline due to financing anyway. This project has waited long enough. We're agreeable to all 3 of the terms proposed. We will be using Weller Management, so it would be a different management company entirely. And as it relates to kind of the maintenance of the property, Weller Management would be responsible for the grounds in its entirety. What I heard about this project is that the residents, I guess, may have been responsible early on, and then it was transferred to the property management. And the property management company, it's obvious that they're underperforming. So we have to look into what we're able to do contractually in terms of replacing them. But from the start for this new project, it will be a new property management company that
So, okay, go ahead.
Mayor,
Sir.
I have a question for our attorney. The 3 conditions that was verbalized,
Yes.
I didn't hear anything about a reverter clause.
Yeah, very good point. So, sorry, Mr. Martin, the condition on demolition that, that you all would begin within 90 days of closing and complete within 6 months, that would be, that can be contained in a reverter provision. So if you fail to complete that, the property would revert to the city if you did not complete that demolition. That's a, yeah, very good point. Sorry. And that's a big deal, right? So, and so for, if you need, I mean, certainly provide any input you have here, but I know that may be something you need to kind of run by, need to think about.
Yeah, do understand the reverter clause, understand your position. The only thing I would ask is that the year construction date began post-demolition, right? We wouldn't be able to start construction until the building was demolished. So say it took 6 months. I do not think it will take 6 months to demolish the building. That would only give us essentially 6 months. Oh, no, you're saying 6 months to start construction, not 6 months to complete construction, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
To begin construction.
Okay, then as is, we're agreeable. You know, yes.
Begin,
We agree.
I have a list of the absolute last, this is the last extension that I'm suggesting, this is the last extension that we would, if we agree to it, the absolute last extension. Demolition would begin in 90 days and be complete within 6 months from the date of closing. And if that doesn't happen, then there's a reverter, would be a reverter clause that property would go back to the city of Carabelle. And that the housing construction would begin within 1 year from the date of closing. So that would be 6 months after the deadline to complete the demolition. And I've got people here that want, is that right? Is that what we're all understanding at this moment? Okay. I have people that have not, have you, Miss Donna, did you complete it?
No, it's okay.
Okay, but let me just ask the commission if they want to hear from Donna and Sharon. They want to speak and they didn't complete speaker cards.
This is my report.
It's your call, Mayor, but I'll listen.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just to do with those houses, but it's okay.
Okay. I will say that.
My niece had one.
I did.
It's shifting because they built on sand. And you don't put four pads high and expect, or 10, and expect it to stay there because it's going to settle on this beach sand. And it's shifting already. The houses are getting where you can't even open the drawers, close the doors, and she just moved out. So they better put it on some solid ground.
All right, Miss Donna,
I'm sorry, I'm shut up.
That's okay though. Thank God she didn't buy that house and that now it's her own, you know, she owned it and bought because of faulty construction. She was a renter and she had the opportunity to leave. Yes, Miss Keisha.
And I just want to say something too while we got him on the phone, because I know they have been trying to submit permits for the building. And they just need to understand too that once you pull that permit, you have to begin within 6 months. And then you only have 6 more months to complete it. So if they're trying to pull the permits now, then they're gonna have to get started start construction within 6 months.
Well, they can't, they're not even wanting to close until February the 29th. So, okay, so I'm gonna let Miss Sharon Glaze come up and speak extremely briefly because Miss Sharon, you did not complete a speaker card.
Well, I did. I didn't specify what I was going to talk about. I just want to ask, is there not any sort of way to put in a stipulation that none of this can happen until the problems are resolved at Jordan Bayou? I mean, they're not getting resolved. It's been a long time. We've been talking a long time. Nothing is resolved. Now they're going to like put that aside. Well, here we're going to do a whole new thing with a whole new management company and a whole new group of people. But, you know, then we've just already got one big disaster. So I think there should be some sort of stipulation that we see progress going with Jordan Bayou.
Okay, let me ask the attorney if we can do that. He's our legal advisor.
All right, I would, unfortunately recommend against that for this reason. We talked about it in the past.
Okay,
Is
share it.
what we have here is we talked at past meetings about what would constitute code enforcement, what we actually could code enforce on out there, being garbage and grass. But as far as the relationship between the tenants and the landlord, that is not our business. I mean, certainly we can hear it, but we cannot use that as a basis. That is a contractual matter between those two parties. We cannot stick ourselves
Right,
into that.
And
We can't-
certainly the rental fees, we have nothing,
no control
nothing to do
over
with that. They
any
would
of
have to really address that with Florida Housing Finance Corporation or wherever else they're getting, how McDowell is getting their subsidies
And
from.
let me say it a different way. Obviously, the lawyer worries. I worry that we cannot interfere with other people's contracts.
Mhm.
I mean, they have a right to contract. They have legal remedies, court. I know Ms. Lewis mentioned she's in court now on something. So that's what that's for. I mean, that's related to a contract between two parties. We do not want to put our finger on that scale.
Now, what about the building, the construction of the building, as Ms. Donna explained, it's lighting off the pilings or something already, and they're just not even a year old. Is there anything we can do about that?
No.
Okay, now, if the building fell off the pilings or something happened, then we could.
It was condemned or something. Then you
Condemn
can
it,
building
code
official.
enforce it and condemn it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, we're gonna wait till somebody dies
Could-
first. Right, because they used an outside inspection service.
And they're
outside of the city.
See if I can do this. I'm gonna speak to Mr. Martin from me.
From from
From
Commissioner
Commissioner
Melander.
Melander. Mr. Martin, you hear the conversation that's going on here in the room. And I think,
Yes, sir.
I think you can understand from my perspective as a commissioner sitting on this board, the red flags that I see coming up are the red flags that's happening, the concerns that we have. And I was a part of, on this board when we entered this, as the mayor described some time back. We entered into, I feel like, a partnership with you guys to help the citizens of Carabelle for adequate and nice housing. We were in a need for nice housing. The city of Carabelle has an investment into what you're looking to do, and we're talking about the extension right now on the old Carabelle High School parcel. The city has quite an investment there to go along with you guys, with your investment that we've worked with you on. And we were willing to do that investment and still are if we can benefit housing and fair and clean and nice housing for the residents of the city of Carabelle. That's our goal. So anyway, with that being said, what I wanted to do is just voice to you our concerns and have you understand why we're asking all these questions and why we have red flags that are arising from the concerns of the residents that are currently existing at Jordan's Bayou. And you hear what has been presented by some of the residents at Jordan Bayou, and you may want to respond to those. Now, you may not, but anyway, that's my feeling, and I wanted you to understand where I'm coming from sitting on this commission. Now, how the other commissioners feel, I can't speak for them, but that's how I feel. I see red flags. And thank you for your time.
And Mr. Martin, this is Brenda LaPaz, the mayor, I have the same concerns as Commissioner Melander. I'm concerned for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of Carabelle. And I have never received a complaint from any of the residents that reside in the other two. We have two other subsidized housing developments in the city limits. I've never received a complaint from any of them. I'm sure they have issues, but they have the issues are not so severe that they've had to bring it to the city commission. They work it out, the companies work it out between themselves and the residents. We're very concerned about this moving forward, and as Commissioner Melander said, we have an investment. We have an investment of certainly now 2 years of time. Many communications between our city attorney that the residents of Carabelle are paying our city attorney to communicate with you and the others associated with McDowell Housing. We reduced the price of the property, number one, because it does have to have a big demo on it. But number two, because we want to get affordable housing in this area. Our teachers, our law enforcement officers, our medical personnel have no place for affordable housing. But they can't live in properties that are falling apart before they even get fully moved in. So, you know, these are concerns that we have.
I understand and hear your concerns 100%. In terms of, we're not going with again, I'm sorry, I wasn't here, I cannot speak to the process for Jordan Bayou. But we are going with the city inspection process. We're not hiring an outside inspector for this development. I just wanted that to be on the record.
That is on the record now, and you are saying that you are going to use the City of Carabelle contracted inspector that we have as our inspector of record?
I'm saying we're not hiring a third-party inspector. We're planning to submit building permits and go through the inspection process
Directly
through the City of Carabelle, directly through the city.
That could be a term of the contract, Mr. Hartman?
I don't think so. I think that's the statute.
Yeah, they have the right to use a third party if they want to.
Okay.
I think they're,
But if he's,
but if he's committing to that, I mean, in good faith, I think we can take their word for it on that. He would have to notify Keisha that they're using a third party inspector.
well, I take it he just notified Keisha, we're gonna use our building inspector.
That is correct.
No way we could put that as a term.
Can't make it a requirement, so.
Well, if we can't, we have it on record.
Yeah, we do have it on record. All right, so we have a counter proposal to this amendment, this request to, on their fifth amendment now request, for an extension to close on this purchase sales agreement for February the 29th, and our proposal is to amend the amendment. This would be the absolute last extension that we would agree to. Do we agree to that?
I'm good with that.
And the demolition would begin within 90 days and be complete within 6 months from the date of closing. And if that does not follow through with, there would be a reverter clause reverting the property back to the City of Carabelle. And the housing construction would begin with 1 year from the date of closing. And that's the terms we have. He has committed to using our city building inspection services through our city clerk and building department. Mr. Martin has reported that there will be a different management company. I believe he said Wheeler Management, and that they would be responsible. I'm not real sure, I couldn't understand exactly what he said, and that they would be responsible for the entirety of the grounds at this new river landing location.
That was Weller Management LLC.
Weller.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, we're still on Mr. Martin, we're still on for 9 of those units that are gonna be, available to higher income,
Unrestricted.
unrestricted? Is that what it was?
Yes, I think that's the term.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
We're still here, Mr. Martin, we're just thinking.
I understand.
Okay. Do we want to consider a motion then,
I'm
Commissioners?
gonna make a motion.
Okay, sir.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the extension. And I'm not gonna try to verbalize all of what was said on the amendments and restrictions that the city attorney has described and the mayor has described. Anyway, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the extension on that basis, as you've heard tonight.
Okay, and then I heard, okay, so that's by Commissioner Melander, and then I heard Commissioner Brown second that, correct? All right then, under discussion, Mr. Hartman, who's going to draw up this contract?
What I'll
This
do
amendment?
is, I will work with Mr. Martin tomorrow, Monday, to just revise the amendment to reflect what's been approved by the commission.
All right, and then I have to sign it.
Yeah, so what is, you would dispose of this motion, then another motion just to authorize someone to sign it.
Yes, but I want we're in discussion now, and I would like all the commissioners that want to, read this amendment with the terms as we've discussed, and read it with Courtney or with
Yes.
you, whatever, it doesn't matter
What I'll
to
do is
me.
I'll work through it, get it done, send it to Courtney, Keisha, and they'll forward it to each commissioner. And then anybody with any issues, they see something in there, a problem, call me, and I'll work with Mr. Martin to get those resolved.
Right, before I sign it.
I agree.
That's fine. That's how the process will work it, yep.
Okay, all right. So that wasn't in the motion, but I want everybody to review it before I sign it.
Understood.
Okay.
Well, that was gonna
Thank
be
you.
my follow-up comments, is the attorney make sure he puts this together and covers all the bases. Yeah. Mr. Martin, do you hear our concerns?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're here on the front lines with these people, these residents of Carabelle. And I've been out there, it's shocking, really. So, anyway, I know it, and Commissioner Millender's been out there, our staff has been out there, our police officers are called out there several times. You know, I don't know what's going on. So anyway, all in favor then of this agreement that we're about to enter into, this amended agreement?
Can I ask a question? What was the extension date you said?
February 29th.
Of 2023?
Yes, sir.
There's no such day.
Okay. So what do you say about that, Mr. Martin?
It fits right in. I think it's the 28th.
Okay, so we want it to be February the 28th?
We would appreciate it, yes.
Okay, I think we would too. All right, very good, thank you. Takes a brainer to figure it out. All right.
Dan, I guess we'll be in touch shortly.
We haven't voted, but all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries.
All right, and then just one.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we're not finished.
One housekeeping motion on authorizing the mayor to sign.
Make a motion to allow the mayor to sign this agreement, this extended agreement, after being reviewed by staff and other members of the board and the attorney.
Second.
Okay, we have that motion. You have that motion, Ms. Keisha?
Yes.
By Commissioner Melander, second by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. All
Thank
right.
you, Mr. Martin.
All right, did you look that
Thank you
up
all.
on your calendar, or you knew?
No,
it?
Are you a leap year baby?
No.
All right, then, there being no other business, let's have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, I heard the second. Okay, that motion is by Mr. Commissioner Walden, second by Commissioner Melander. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? And that carries, and good night.